Welcome back to The Intentional Workplace, a podcast where we spend 15 minutes each week to talk about everything HR to improve your business. I'm Maria Williams,
And I'm Jacob Stone.
and this week is episode 15. We've done 14 episodes. This is the last one of the series, and we're really excited to be here today to kind of help wrap things up about everything that we've talked about from the previous episodes. So this will be a little bit of a catch-all and a reflection on some of the key themes that we've talked about before. So this week we do want to spend some time talking about what actually makes a workplace intentional, since the name of our podcast is The Intentional Workplace, and really reflect on everything that we've discussed when it comes to hiring, growth, meetings, burnout, culture, and what actually separates intentional workplaces from reactive workplaces. And one thing that I just want to tee us up with as I was reflecting back on all of the episodes that we've done so far is that one thing or a few things that I think really make workplaces intentional are um, workplaces that are proactive, consistent, and clear. I think clarity is one of the things that we've talked a lot about. The importance of clarity across leadership teams and the way that leaders and just companies in general communicate. But one question that I want to kick us off with here is about the onboarding experience for new hires coming into a company, because that's often a really good gauge of what a company culture is all about. So I'll ask this question, Jacob, to you to kick us off. If somebody joined your company tomorrow, what would they experience that proves that you're an intentional company? So we'll start with that one.
So I mean, this is one of those things that you have to really. There's a lot of introspection that goes with it. So you have to think. It's easy to say the superficial thing of, well, they get all these perks, or they get a lot of PTO, or we're really cool to work with. Um, but I think in order for you to grow as an organization, to move the ball forward, and ultimately gain more equity, even. Um, you really need to look inward. And as a business leader, it's what am I doing today that's helping my individual contributors better themselves each and every day. And it goes back to what I've had coaches my entire life tell me is every time you go out on the practice field or whatever, you want to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. So what did you do today to help you move that, proverbial ball forward to better yourself today than you did yesterday? And so if each if each leader within an organization, whether you are a Fortune 500, whether you're just a small mom and pop, or even a solopreneur, I think that it's vital to every single day have that introspection of, um, how did I move that forward? How did I better my employees? How did I better the overall organization? And if I did leave today, how would that affect everyone? Would they still be better? Would this place be able to run autonomously, or would it all come crashing down, fall apart, and you know people wouldn't have the passion that to work anymore? Would they not even care that I even existed or that I failed? And so I think, again, as a business leader, or manager, that we have a tendency to want to, I don't want to say work as like a puppet master, where if without me, I'm the quarterback of everything and I need to make everything go. Without me, this place would come crashing down. But I think the sign of a good leader is that if I were to take time off, or if I were to step away, or I wanted to change directions and pivot, can this place move forward without me?
Mhm.
Because of what I instilled in it, because of the systems I put in place, because of the culture that I established, because of the communication and coaching and leadership that I provided to people within the organization to better themselves. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? I mean, work is work, but you got to love what you're doing. And I think ultimately people want to leave this world a better place and make people around them better. And so I think that if we are going to measure success in that way is, yes, I am the face of the company, or I am very important. I am the linchpin of this organization. But if something were to happen, or I don't want to do this anymore, I want to change directions, can this place survive without me? And the people that have helped me either make my money or better my career, will they be better off and still be able to maintain and continue?
Mhm. Yeah, and it's not just the value. One of the episodes we did was, I forget exactly what we called it, but values on the wall versus values in reality or something. And you said putting the systems and all that in place,
Mhm.
and that is so important. I mean, it's one thing as a leader to talk about, and let's talk about the onboarding kind of experience, since that's what we use to kind of tee up. So it's one thing to highlight, okay, these are our company values. These are the 5 things that we believe in as a company and whatever. But what actually matters is the processes, the systems, the continuously talking about what is important to a company. And I love that episode because I think it's so important, and I see it so often with companies where, oh well, we have these values, and we talk about the values, and but really when you look at how the company is run and how teams operate, it's not consistent really with the values. And that leads to more confusion. Back to the clarity point, it's like that clarity is super important, for employees and for new hires coming in. It should be crystal clear what the company believes in, what the culture is all about, and that should be backed by all the processes and systems that are put in place.
Sure. And again, not to be confused, that you can always change your mission statement, or what
Mhm.
you're offering, or even the way that you do things. But yes, I think like the values, the integrity, um the overall vibe needs to be clear cut. And this is how we operate. And I think if everyone joins in to say we're here to make this better for each other, for to move the ball forward, then yes, nothing but success in whatever shape that might take.
Yep. Yeah, in a recent networking event I was in, I talked about culture, and I think we've talked about it a lot in these episodes, of course, but it's so important. And what what we were discussing was how a company culture is really is shaped by what's tolerated in the company, and going along with being intentional and the values and the systems you put in place. If being late to meetings is tolerated, if working every hour that you're on vacation is tolerated, if not holding somebody accountable is tolerated, then those, over time, that is what builds the culture. So as an intentional leader, manager of a company, every action that you do and everything that you tolerate as a company, really, that's what shapes what the company is all about, and that's really what shapes the company culture, regardless of what you have written down or communicated in terms of the company values. So that's something that's just a good takeaway for any managers, leaders out there listening, to really pay attention um, to that, and to what's tolerated across the organization.
Right. And I think, and it just popped into my head as you were talking, is again, we are the intentional workplace. So our basis is around every action that you do, or every decision that you make should be intentional. It shouldn't just be all willy-nilly. It should be thought out. It should be executed with a plan. But where do good intentions break down most often? Because I think a lot of times business leaders, even independent contributors that say, I'm going to go above and beyond, their intentions are good.
Mhm.
I didn't mean for this, I thought if I did X, I didn't intend for Y to happen, even if it was bad or a bad decision or whatever. So where does that good intention break down most often? And again, I go back to wrapping up many conversations that we had. And the biggest theme, conversation. We
Mhm.
don't talk enough,
Yeah.
especially in the day of AI, of where we are. We rely a lot on automated things, for whatever reason, we are afraid to talk to one another. Oh, God, I gotta go sit in this meeting. Oh, geez, I gotta actually pick up the phone and call this guy. Like, I don't want to do that. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to have human interaction. And we've said that I don't know how many times throughout the season. You're gonna have to talk to people. There's no way around it. If you want to be successful in business, you're gonna have to interact with people. AI is good tools. There's also automated tools that are very good for you, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to talk to these people. And so I think where good intentions really break down is that we ignore or we refuse to do the hard work and build the relationships or have the uncomfortable conversations or set that standard with our fellow workers. Um, and often that leads to misinterpretation of things. It leads to um, not being efficient in how we execute our deliverables or even when we
Mhm.
are delivering whatever, the product or service that we're doing. And so, um, again, having that open line of communication, um, is really probably the one of the most important things, human to human interaction that you can do in business today.
Yeah. Agree. And the communication, the transparency, I think when it comes to intentional leaders, it's also consistency and follow through. I think sometimes where good intentions break down, I mean, often that has to do sometimes with speed, the speed in which things need to happen at a company. And
Oh yeah.
we need to bring somebody on tomorrow. So, like, we just need to bring them on and we
Oh
need,
god, I've never
to
heard
get,
that one before. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
never, never, that never
We need
happens.
somebody yesterday. I bet you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's I mean, that's where I see it most often. It's kinda like, "Well, we needed to go fast on this, so I didn't have time to communicate it properly, or I didn't have time to, you know, have the right conversations with the right people, pull the right people in," all of those things. But when a leader is consistent and transparent when they get to it, if it doesn't happen right away, then make it a point to happen later. But that consistency is really important, as a leadership skill, and because that is really what builds the trust too. And leaders that act the same way consistently, and even if they were run across a urgency, something urgent that needs to happen, then they'll follow up and they'll do the right thing after. If they When they act the same way repeatedly and consistently, then that builds the trust, and that's really what, in my mind, is one of the things that sets really strong leaders apart, and allows for just more, I don't know, more structure and intentionality and, across teams.
Yeah, and, on that note too is leaders out there listening, please delegate things. Don't be afraid to delegate to your team or even cross-functionally, because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reason. We want the same goal. If you've hired correctly and your culture's been established that we're gonna better everything else, please delegate. So to your point, Maria, if well, I didn't get around to it today, or we needed to hire this person yesterday, but I have so much on my plate, delegate. Have too much on my plate, delegate. Man, that could be an episode. Throw that one down.
There you go. Yes.
There we go. Coming up on the fly. Um, but yes, I think that having that intention as well, of delegating for leaders to really build off of everything. So that's another thing that I know that we have talked about, consistently as well in the season, is
Yep,
to not be afraid to offload some stuff. You've hired people to do that job, so let them do it.
that's right. So we've talked a lot in 15 episodes about all sorts of topics. And this is kind of the wrap up of our first season. And we're really excited about what's to come. We've talked about what to do next and what other topics to bring to all of you. So more to come on that. But if you're just starting to listen, please check out the other episodes before this, because we dive a lot deeper into what we just talked about. But Jacob, anything that you're excited about for next season?
I'm hoping that we're gonna be bringing on some more guests. I know that
Yes.
people love listening to us talk, but I would be prepared for a lot more guests to get other perspectives on things. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, and reach out to us if there's anything specific that you want us to dive into more, and we'll add that to our list. But thanks so
Absolutely.
much for listening.
All right. See
All
you
right.
next time.
Okay. Bye.